Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships, and today we are finally saying goodbye to the Tier 9 USN Fletcher. And yes, it has been a long time coming. We are playing on Mountain Range. We have a Lexington, Kerfurs, 2 Yamatos, 2 Iowas, Mossva, Rune, 2 Atagos, Habdosh, and a Fletcher. On the enemy team, there's a Shikaku, Montana, Kerfurs, Yamato, Missouri, Ismo, Hindenburg, Neptune, Atago, Kutuzov, Shimikaze, and a Z-46. Fletcher is a really good ship. Not probably my most favorite, but she is a really good ship, especially if you know and understand how to play destroyers really well. You will probably become a master. As you can see, we are pushing towards B, and RDF is showing that we do have a ship just north of us, obviously, since the enemy team do spawn at the north hand side of the map. But more than likely, one of the enemy destroyers will be coming our way. I am going to try to cap B. We'll see how successful we are with this. Let's see. So our team, as you can see, are all pushing out towards A. Now, normally, this type of thought process where you lemming train to one cap doesn't work really well. I'm not a big fan of it. As you will see, things are not going to be particularly fun. And of course, the enemy CV realizes that B is being captured by the enemy team, and he sends out his fighter to go spot. And I am really debating whether or not to use my smoke screen, because I do not run superintendent on my USN captain. And there we just saw for a second that there was the Z-46. The Z-46, as you may or may not know, does have hydro available, and seeing the smoke screen's not gonna be very good for us. Now I am unleashing my AA to try to shoot down the enemy CV planes. They are going to be our major issue, because even if I come out of the smoke screen, this CV is going to spot us, and we are just going to be at the mercy of the enemy team. We do shoot down a plane, but unfortunately we have lost sight, and at this time I am like, oh crap, I really need to get moving. There is a C-46, and oh looky there, we are detected by Hydra, and we have 4 enemy ships aiming at us. I believe the Kerfurs, Missouri, Hindenburg, and Z-46 are all aiming at us, and there are the torpedoes. These torpedoes, as I am very well aware, are really good, and unfortunately for us, we get engines knocked out, but fortunately for us, we do shoot down all those planes. We've shot down 5 planes, so AA is pretty decent on the Fletcher. Especially with AA Madness, you can chew up tier 8 planes if needs be. So RDF is obviously showing that the Z-46 is north of us right now. And we're going to try to play carefully, because obviously with this smoke screen in the way, we can't spot the Z-46. But he can spot us with his hydro, and it's just a really good idea to try to get out of there. But fortunately for us, the Z-46 is using HE, and I'm fine with that. The German HE on the Z-46 is not the greatest in the world, and the Fletcher is actually a far superior ship as far as these battles with HE. He does slow up, pop his smoke screen, and my torpedoes are now reloaded. And now there is a possibility that the Z-46 has his hydro still on, so I'm actually not expecting that much from these torpedoes, but if anything, we can hope that it might push him away. Oh, well, we'll see. Alright, so we're going to try to turn around. As you can see, the enemy team is getting pushed away from A quite heavily, and oh, look at there. Enemy Z-46 goes down, and our team is actually now ahead 2 ships. So we're doing really well. The enemy team is going to take control of C, but that's one less destroyer. There's only 2 destroyers in this battle at the moment, and well, honestly, as I've been experiencing lately, there's a lot of destroyers and a lot of battleships, so it's actually kind of nice having a more limited amount of destroyers available. So I am, once again, trying to push back into B, but as you can see, the enemy team is starting to push towards B. There's a Kerfurs, Hindenburg, and a Missouri, as well as the Yamato north of us. Now, our friendly CV, well, it looked like he tried to do a CV snipe. I don't think it really worked out well. I think this enemy CV is going to survive any potential damage that he did cause. So, yeah, don't really know why he tried to snipe the CV at this tier, but yeah, he does it. So, unfortunately for me, I am going to be pushed out of the B cap. I don't want to get within hydro range of both the Kurfürst and the Hindenburg. That is far too dangerous. So instead, I'm going to drop torpedoes on the Yamato, possibly get some torpedo hits. We'll see. We'll see how things progress. But yes, unfortunately, I am going to get pushed out, and the enemy seas fighters are once again going to spot me, and I forgot to turn off my AA. But I think either way it would have been detected by the enemy CV. I do go ahead and pop my AA Madness. Now you might really question as to why I did this. It's really just to shoot down these potential threats that are currently spotting me. Now we have made it back over with our team. Our team is now starting to push towards the center of the map and towards B. Now, unfortunately for us, I think my torpedoes are going to get spotted possibly by the Hydro. So unfortunately, this Yamato is going to get away with this, and might as well. We're within the safety of our friendly team, and we're just going to cause havoc on this Kurfürst. Oh, looky there. One torpedo hit. One dead Missouri, caused a detonation. Well, at least he got some detonation flags for his trouble. But so that definitely boosts our damage counter up quite a bit. And we're just going to cause havoc with this Kurfürst. We do have a fire, which is going to definitely help us out. And this Hindenburg is showing way too much broadside to these battleships. Way too much broadside. We are trying to assist, but I think this Hindenburg is probably going to go down fairly quickly. I think he's just almost overextended at this point. So unfortunately at this moment, we are going to be being pushed south, which may not be that beneficial because we do see there's a Shimakaze up north of here, and honestly I should be the one trying to push him, but at the exact same time our torpedoes are now ready for another battleship, and I am hoping to get some more torpedo hit because the Fletcher torpedoes are actually really good. Definitely far from those low tier USN destroyers. You do have decent range, 10.5 kilometers. The only thing I dislike about them is the fact that they do have a very long reload time. Definitely the downside of it. Now there is the enemy Yamato. He is going to be target number 1 at the moment. Don't quite know which way he's going to be going. I would assume he would bring his nose towards the enemy battleship. There is a Kurfürst that is starting to push towards him quite heavily, and unfortunately we have just lost our Kurfürst and our Yamato, and the enemy team is trying to get back up on its feet. Once again, not a big fan of lemming trains, but for whatever reason this lemming train actually kind of worked to our advantage. We do get a fire on the Yamato, and we do get a torpedo hit, but cause no flooding. What is the chances of that? No flooding on the Yamato. We're just going to try to cause as much havoc. And here I actually did not remember the detection range on the Fletcher from the smoke screen, so I'm actually going to pull out of my smoke screen. But I think we should be fine because there is no aircrafts in the air at the moment that will spot me, so we should be fine as long as we keep our distance and just constantly harass this Yamato as much as possible. So our team is definitely in the lead. We definitely do have the ship advantage as well as the point advantage, so we're definitely doing fairly well. Now the Yamato should be going down here shortly. If only we had that flooding, and there we go. We got another fire on him. Looks like we have finally attracted his attention, but he should go down right there and then. All right, our team is actually doing a really good job. And now I'm actually going to start pushing north because once again, there is a enemy Shimakaze that was north of our team. And as you can see, he is currently in the B cap, and RDF is now telling us his approximate location. And unfortunately, oh wow, that is one weird torpedo. I did not see it when I played the game the first time around, but now coming back and actually seeing where that torpedo was coming from was actually kind of interesting. All right, so we are now going to come help find the Shima. He's our most prominent threat at the moment, and unfortunately for this Iowa, he is going to get hit by some torpedoes, and, well, he's not going to have a good time. He gets hit, takes one, possibly two, and the enemy Neptune is spotted and is fortunately going to hopefully get knocked out here soon. Now, the RDF is showing that the Shima is out east. Neptune does go down, but the Neptune does have kind of a nasty stinger, which unfortunately this poor Iowa is going to experience firsthand. Shima is now spotted. He is our prime target. Definitely want to get rid of him as quickly as possible. Do get some good hits, and this is kind of how it used to be back in the day when USN essentially ruled the gun field, all the artillery, the fast-rolling guns, and oh yes, the Neptune's revenge has finally hit the Iowa, and, well, he used his damage control, so he's probably not going to be around for very much longer. Shima finally appears back up and goes down to the combined fire, including the Moskva, and the CV is actually going after the Moskva. Wonder if the Moskva has defensive AA. Does not look like it. That's actually kind of interesting. Well, I think he is going to survive it. I think he's going to take a few torpedoes, but should be fine. And now we can officially capture B. Not bad, not bad. Finally able to capture B. And we're gonna... Oh, there goes the Iowa. Unfortunately, he goes down to the Neptune's flooding, which is highly unfortunate. And our Yamato is currently dealing with the Kutuzov's fire, and we'll see if he's still going to be around for very much longer. Now, there is a enemy Montana that was spotted northeast of us, who's extremely low on health. I actually don't remember seeing him. Possibly came in from the west. I might have to rewatch this when I edit this video, but it looks like he probably, I'm assuming, is coming out from the west to the east side, and wow, he's very low on health. He's not had a good time at all, but we should be able to capture C, and really, I'm very satisfied with the fact that this game was able to sustain for a much longer duration. We aren't very close to winning. We're still sitting around 300 points away from 1,000. So, there's still a little bit of time to get some additional damage dealt. And it looks like the enemy CV is now bringing in his fighters. And our CV, well, it looks like he's trying to go for a strike once again on the enemy CV. And I don't really understand why. I believe the enemy CV is very low in health. Honestly, he probably could be putting his planes better to use against that Kutuzov that is actually very close to the Lexington. That would probably be more of my target, even though the Kutuzov does have really good defensive AA. So CV is spotting us. We are getting a few hits. We have shot down one plane, and this is actually very beneficial. Shooting down planes really gives you a lot of XP and money, so shooting down planes is very nice. It does prove beneficial for you. And there we go, have captured the C cap. And as we have seen throughout this battle, Fletcher's really good with the guns. The only issue is that very long range is very, very poor. And now let's talk about the AEA. So, as you saw earlier, we do have defensive AA, and in this case, having defensive AA with some dive bombers is extremely beneficial. The duration is about 30 seconds, and with that, well, there's no, or better yet, not likely of a chance for the CB to actually hit us with his bombs. The circle just goes far too wide unless RNG just decides nope. But unfortunately for the enemy team, the Shikaku is now spotted, and there is an Iowa, Yamato, and a Tago focused on him, and it will probably go down, and that will be essentially the end of the battle right there and then. But overall, not a bad game for the Fletcher. Definitely not what I was expecting. So our team earned a victory. We brought home 566,348 silver, 9,752 XP, and 1,708 free XP. We earned Devastating Strike and First Blood. We did 142,132 points of damage, 143 shell hits, 3 torpedo hits, 17 plane shot down, which is actually very nice, 3 incapacitation, 2 kills, 4 fires, 2 flooding, 7 defended base capture, and 2 assisted base capture. We were top of the team with a base XP of 2,549. We did around 78,300 points of damage against that Missouri. Unfortunately for him, he was just unfortunate to get a detonation, but I will gladly take that. That definitely helped our team. We did around 12,150 points of damage against the Z-46, 30,601 against the Yamato, around 16,000 against the Kurfürst, and around 2,929 against that Shimikaze. High explosive damage did around 30,303, torpedoes did around 87,707, and our fires did around 24,122. But unfortunately for us, our floodings caused no damage due to the fact that it killed the enemy ships both times. So overall, not too bad. Definitely is very strong ship, but it has experienced quite a bit of power creep from the Russian destroyers and even the Z-46 now, since the Fletcher used to be the best bully in a cap area due to its fast firing guns and very quick turning guns as well. So that is the only very unfortunate thing about the Fletcher, is just dealing with that power creep. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into port. I will see you guys there. Alright everyone, we are back in port, and the Fletcher, it's a really fun ship. It's a really good ship. Probably what the pinnacle of the American destroyers are capable of, and obviously it's a tier 9, and obviously there's a tier 10, and I've heard some bad things about the gearing, but the Fletcher, a lot of people recommend keeping her, but I think I'm going to go ahead and sell her and move on to the gearing. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. Survivability, 20,250 points of health, which is pretty decent. Not the highest, obviously, that goes to the Z-46 as well as some Russian destroyers, but she is really nice as the fact that she is actually fairly nimble. She's fairly small, she's fairly narrow in the beam, and she actually sits fairly low in the water, so she's definitely a lot more difficult to hit than the Russian destroyers, and that really helps her out, because if not, the Fletcher can take quite a bit of damage, especially if a battleship does get a decent amount of AP shell hits on you. Can rack down your health pool very quickly. So survivability is not too bad. Obviously the armor is nothing too extravagant, with 20 millimeters at the utmost thick parts of the ship. So yeah, it's a destroyer, but survivability is pretty decent as far as health pool. Artillery, main guns, 5 single 127 millimeters. They are obviously the USN variety, where they do have a very high arcing shell fire, very fast reload, 2.9 seconds. Turn time on the guns is 6.1, which is very nice. We'll have to say, firing at range is going to be extremely difficult. It is manageable, but it does take quite a bit of lead because of the arcing of the shell, which does mean that you will have to aim quite further ahead just to get your shells to hit. And that's kind of her downside, is against other destroyers, especially the Russian destroyers, which are more designed to be firing at long range. Whenever you are facing off against these Russian destroyers, you are at a disadvantage if you are very far away. Her real benefit and her real firepower is close up. She's a good close quarter brawler with her guns, very fast reload, very quick turn time of the gun, so that's her major benefit. But at range, she does suffer because of the arcing of the shells. Max HE damage is 1800 with a 7% fire chance. Not the greatest, but I mean, it's decent for USN destroyers. Max AP damage, and you can use AP. It can rack up the damage, especially with the quick reload does allow you to quickly get AP shells onto target. 2,100 is the max AP damage. The firing range of the Fletcher, and that is without any additional buffs to the captain, is 12.9 kilometers. Velocity, as I did mention, is very, very sluggish in the air, so do have to lead quite a bit just to get your shells to land on target. The third turret does face forward, so you can push with this ship. The angling is fairly nice for you, so you can do this, can push whenever possible. Torpedoes. The Fletcher does have 2 quintuple torpedoes. They have a range of 10.5 kilometer. They reload every 106 seconds. Kind of slow on the reload time. That is probably one of the things I do not like about the Fletcher, is the reload time is very, very slow. Max damage is fairly decent, 19,033 points. So overall, not too bad. Detectability range by sea is 1.4 kilometers, and they go 66 knots. So overall, not too bad. You do have a nice range, and the speed is fairly decent on the Fletcher. But the only really bad thing, like I said, about the torpedoes is the fact that they do take such a long time to reload, especially coming from the German destroyers, where you have a very quick reload time. AA defense is alright. It's nothing extravagant, but you do have the benefit of AA Madness, which does buff your AA guns quite a bit. You have 7 single 20 millimeters. They have an average damage of 25 with a 2 kilometer range. Then you have 5 dual 40 millimeters. Average damage is 57 with a 3.5 kilometer range, and then your additional guns will assist. You have 5 single 127 millimeters with an average damage of 54 with a 5 kilometer range. So AA is not bad. Once again, it really is beneficial that you do have AA Madness for the Fletcher. Maneuverability. Max speed is 38.3 knots. Not too bad. Kind of middle of the road pack. I believe you are a little bit faster than the Hakaym, but she's not as fast as, obviously, as fast as some of the other destroyers out there as far as tier 9. Turning circle radius is very, very tight, 560 meters. Rudder shift time is very nice, 3 seconds, so overall not too bad. Concealment is pretty decent, 5.8. Detectability after firing from smoke is 2.7, so something to keep in mind. Definitely need to learn this, just so whenever you are in your smoke screen, you are well aware where other ships are, so you're not detected whenever they get too close to your smoke screen. Moving on to modules, as far as what you probably need to work on as far as upgrading. Getting the range is nice, just so you have that additional buffer zone, but honestly, I would probably go for the hull upgrade, get the additional health, and also reduce the rudder shift time, as well as get additional AA, and then get your torpedoes. The stock torpedoes are, well, they reload a little bit longer. They don't do as much damage. They are definitely quite a bit slower, and they don't have that decent range. So very beneficial to get torpedoes, because honestly, at the moment, the USN destroyers, which was originally the main destroyer line, there was obviously only 2 destroyers when the game first came out. There has been some serious power creep since the other destroyer line came out, and this really has affected how the Fletcher is played nowadays. Very rarely, now I better not say very rarely, but it is becoming less common for the USN destroyers to use their guns, and more often than not use their torpedoes as their mainstay weapons, because once again, the arcing on the shells is very, very well, it takes quite a bit of skill to actually properly master, and with other destroyers that have much better guns on their lines, yes, the USN destroyers definitely have dealt with that power creep, and still, I'm not saying it's a bad ship, but still can become troublesome whenever facing off against, say, Russian destroyers. All right, so moving on to the upgrades. Obviously, very similar to almost everything. Main armaments mod 1. Then I have gone for aiming system mod 1. If you want to buff your AA, you can get the AA gun mod 2. Especially since you do have AA madness, this will increase the range of your AA guns. But sometimes it is more for defensive purposes and not so much as assisting friendly teammates. I have gone for main battery modification 3. This is, I believe, a much better choice over gunfire control system mod 2. You could go for torpedo tubes mod 3, honestly. This obviously will increase the reload time, or decrease the reload time, sorry. However, with everything I've said about her guns, I still feel, especially whenever pushing into caps, the USN destroyers with their very fast firing guns and very quick turn on the guns is really where it's at, and your torpedoes are obviously better suited for much larger targets. So with that being said, I still went for main battery modification 3. Propulsion mod 1 is the fourth module, and then I've gone for propulsion mod 2 and then concealment expert as usual. As anyone knows, the smoke screen on the USN destroyers are really good. Has a very long active time, 127 seconds. Very powerful. Obviously, smoke screens have been nerfed a little bit due to the fact that well, they were used for offensive purposes and allowed enemy battleships to hide in it. And I agree to that quite a little bit, because it is very overpowered when facing off against, say, a Des Moines, a Montana, and a Gearing, or a Fletcher, whatever have you. And that smoke screen is very potent. So, yeah, your smoke screen's nice, but I'm kind of glad they did nerf it a little bit. It is going to take obviously some time to get accustomed to this new smoke screen, but with things take time. All right, obviously the next module, next consumable, I went for defensive AA, and this obviously I traded in for the engine boost. This is a very good module consumable to actually have, due to the fact that there are carriers in the game at times. This does allow you to at least protect yourself, as you did see in the match. It does protect you from being dive bombed or even being torped, so it does prove very beneficial, and always recommend this. Alright, moving on to my captain. And as not a lot has changed, as we have been grinding up, and he's finally a 19-point captain. I have obviously gone for priority target. I really do enjoy this skill. Then I have gone for last stand, demolition expert, concealment expert, radio location, survivability expert, and I have 2 more points, which I am actually gonna save for when we do the Gearing, because this 2 points are better suited for the Gearing than for the Fletcher. So I will talk about this in the next video. But if you are planning on keeping the Fletcher, very good skill for the Fletcher is either smokescreen expert, which does increase the radius of your smokescreen by 20%, or as usual, adrenaline rush is very nice. But this is gonna be it. We are going to say goodbye to the Fletcher, and we are going to be moving on to the Gearing. The Fletcher is actually the last line, which is actually rather amusing. Last line of destroyers that I have gone through, which was in fact the very first line of destroyers that came to the game. And yes, I'm finally getting up to the Gearing, so hopefully the Gearing won't be as bad as I've heard it is. So anyways, saying goodbye to the Fletcher. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.